to the game.
Of today's matchup between Brentford and Arsenal, we were surprised to learn this morning that Gabriel Jesus had been surplus to requirements at Arsenal. With Isaac sitting on 15 goals, that makes sense, but it raises a question: what's Mikel Arteta planning now? There's nothing like a game of football on New Year's Day. Happy New Year, everyone. Well, to Arsenal fans, is it? Because we woke up to the news this morning, and you may have heard it, Gabriel Jesus has left on a transfer to Inter Milan, of all places. Now, Thomas Partey was moved to Inter Milan in the summer window before it closed. But Gabriel Jesus really seems to be a strange one, considering the somewhat lack of striking power Arsenal had at one point. Now, they have obviously reinforced it with Alexander Isak, who is now the Premier League's top scorer with 15. So the question is not really, will they cope without it? Because they will. The question is, what has Mikel Arteta got planned then for the summer window? Because of course, we woke up to also news this morning that Bournemouth have indeed recalled Roberto Neto from his loan to Arsenal after performing admirably this season. So it has freed up some cash and a loan spot for Arsenal's future. Is Mikel Arteta looking to do business in this window? Well, he's got Brentford to deal with today, the former team of David Raya. Now, the interesting one there is Ivan Toney. He has been an Arsenal target for a couple of years now. Could that finally come to fruition? Well, there's an interesting debutant on the bench today for Arsenal. We'll talk about that in a second. Traditional 11 for Arsenal today. No Bukayo Saka, as he's still out injured. Daniel Jennings makes his Arsenal debut on the bench with the loss of Roberto Neto. So we were thinking that maybe that would happen. Neto has done ever so well playing for Arsenal in the games he has. I don't know if it was because of that or just that Neto wasn't really getting enough playing time. Sounds a bit of a ridiculous reason when you consider that ahead of him is David Raya, and more often than not, David Raya was going to start. So if it was due to lack of game time, then that's strange from Bournemouth. But I think they're really proud of Roberto Neto's efforts, and I think there might be an injury to a goalkeeper that we don't know about. I mean, I think Bournemouth have about 4 goalkeepers on their books, including former goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, as Martinelli immediately scores off the kickoff. We've barely played a minute, and Gabriel Martinelli has scored already. Well, first goal post Gabriel Jesus. It went to Arsenal because of course it did, and it went to Gabriel Martinelli because of course it did. Because Martinelli's been scoring for fun all season long. So no real surprises there. Will David Raya get a clean sheet against his former club? Well, they're certainly on for the 3 points. And as we said then, so Gabriel Jesus has some transfer funds. Roberto Neto going back to Bournemouth frees up a loan spot because you can have only 2 loan spots during a season. So, what does that mean? What is Arteta planning to do? Is he planning to do anything? I mean, he'll probably have to. He'll have to replace Jesus with probably another striker to some degree. We have been talking a lot about other strikers for Arsenal. Benjamin Sesko, Ivan Toney is another one here. But he's been also linked to a Saudi Arabian club, so I don't think he'll be coming over. So I'm not sure who that leaves on the table for Arsenal. We haven't really had any rumours come through for anyone yet. It is only New Year's Day. I don't think there's anything in the planning yet for Arsenal. I think they're just waiting to assess what they need. I mean, we have spoke about it a couple of times in the broadcast this year. I believe they need probably another rotational striker to back up Alexander Isak if he goes down. Maybe another winger to back up Bukayo Saka if he does. Although we do have Martinelli and Trossard. But what if one of those falls down? And as you can see, Manchester City back at the top of the league. Now, I believe that is because of a game in hand that City have played. No, they won early in the weekend, I think. So if Arsenal win today, then they go back to the top of the table by a point, which could be very telling, considering what is coming up in the next month or so for Arsenal. FA Cup match against Manchester United in the works. Carabao Cup 2 semi-final legs with Manchester City, and the Premier League clash against Manchester City. I think that's going to be taking place in early February, so we don't have to worry about that right now. So they can focus on really Brentford and some others today. There's Ivan Toney. So no real move yet from Arteta or Arsenal. They're keeping very tight-lipped over their possible incomings. It probably won't be anyone huge. It'll probably be anywhere for a couple of regions of maybe 15 to 25 million, because obviously to comply with the PSR ruling. But I think Arsenal are pretty clear at that. I think they can make a couple of rotational signings and not break the bank, and be looked at for possible financial breaches in that regard. Obviously, City have their own battles with the Premier League to deal with on that front. But right now, I think they're going to be more focused on what this game will bring for Arsenal, because they're already one up, so they're going back to the top of the table as of now. City still haven't lost over the course of this season, but the dropped points that they dropped will be absolutely vital now. If they win against City in February and they're still in this position, they could go 4 points clear with a couple of months left in the season. Like we said, that game at the Emirates Stadium is going to be the biggest telling point in where the title could be come May time. Isak, Premier League top scorer with 15 goals now, Alexander Isak, with still over the half of the season to play. We're at the halfway point at this very moment. By the end of the night, we will have played 19 games and been over halfway through this Premier League season, which has been absolutely enthralling so far. Arsenal have definitely played the best football. Man City have been there because they are there. And the biggest disappointments have to go to Manchester United for the most part. And probably Aston Villa. I'd say Aston Villa haven't really gone above expectations. The real heroes have been Newcastle United. And like I said at St James's Park when Arsenal played them, whatever happens, Eddie Howe has done a tremendous job as Martinelli leaves his man on the deck and finds Odegaard, and Isak will put those in all day long. Is another goal for Alexander Isak. That is goal 16 as he continues to put them in the back of the net. Well, Martinelli found Odegaard wonderfully here. Fleck made the save, but Isak doesn't miss those. That's an open net, an open invitation, and to a goal scorer like Isak, you're not going to stop it. But the touch from Martinelli to go round his man was absolutely exquisite in the build-up, and Brentford are being taken to school. The G-Tech Community Stadium, one of the best atmospheres in the league. Brentford are a very small market team, and they're really, like Blackpool once were, they were the neutral favourites. Well, that's Alexander Isak's 16th goal in the league this season, chasing the record set by Erling Haaland a couple of years ago with 36, I believe. I believe that's the competition record. I think that's what EAFC game calls it. And I think it was set by Haaland. Doing that stellar opening season for City he had. Renato to Zinchenko. Arsenal need to keep scoring and need to keep winning. And they're going to do that today by the looks of it. Another poaching goal for Isak. 3-0. And it is already over within 22 minutes. And very much like Ipswich Town, Brentford don't look like breaking this anytime soon. Oh, beautiful ball here from Trossard. Isak forces the save from the keeper. And then goes round him into the back of the net. And no sooner had he got 16, he's now got number 17 for the season. And I mentioned number 17 was quite emphatic because obviously WWE wrestler John Cena earlier, I think it was late last year, announced his 2025 will be his final year in the WWE, and he's chasing title number 17 in the WWE. So it's quite an apt number that we mention on that front. First ballot Hall of Famer John Cena chasing a title that would pretty much solidify his greatest of all time status. Isak! And he was close to a third there. And he was offside anyway. And Isak chasing a very different matter. That title of goal scorer for the top goal scorer for the Premier League in the 24-5 season. He's well on his way to doing it. I think if David Raya gets a clean sheet here, it'll be his 10th of the season, and he'll be the outright leader in clean sheets. And of course, he won the clean sheet award last season as well. So 2 Arsenal players up for individual awards so far this season. They got 1 and missed out on the title by a point. Will Isak be the telling point in getting them over the line? So far, he more than has been already. Martinelli. Ben White. Ben White once again on the action, and he got a shot in, you know. Flecken had to make the save. Well, little Brentford. The neutrals love him. I love him. I always love an underdog story. Brentford is one of them. We call them Little Brentford. They're not little. They're just really a small market team. But even still, and this is a bit of a North London derby as well. A London derby as well. Not a North London one, incidentally, but it is a bit of one of the minor ones. Ivan Toney. Oh, he's done brilliantly, and he shoots. And it's wide. I think he's out for a corner. Ivan Toney was one of the players that Mikel Arteta was chasing at the beginning of the year. And he got Alexander Isak instead. I think if he was to try and get Toney, it'd probably be a bit of a struggle to get him in. So, and if the Saudi Arabia club is chasing him, maybe that's something Arsenal will want to leave alone. Balls everywhere and out for another corner. Well, it was headed down, and I think that come off the Arsenal defender, so it's out for a corner. David Raya moving against his former team today. Well, Brentford have had a stellar season so far in the top 10, fighting for a place in the Europa League as well, and ahead at the expense of a sinking Manchester United, who finally got an earned win under Ruben Almiron as United continue to struggle. Here is Zinchenko, and well, that could have been so easily a goal for him as well. The fullbacks are getting forward here. Rice to White to Moreno. Jensen clears that. Here's Janelt. Beats Moreno. Finds Miranda. Ben White cuts that out. Nice to Martinelli, a lightning Arsenal counter-attack. Odegaard is forward. Isak has found him. And Flecky makes a good save. Blitzing Arsenal counter-attack. And Trossard with the resulting corner. Well, one good news for Arsenal this New Year's is that Kai Havertz has returned to light training duty. Calvary with a very interesting attempt. Could have so easily been a goal for him. Really well done as well. But Kai Havertz has returned to light training. He's not fit enough to be back in the squad full time yet, but that will be a very welcome sight. Bukayo Saka is still a couple of weeks away, we're hearing. So they will be back up to full strength pretty soon. Taken by Saliba. Odegaard. Martinelli. Well, whoever they do buy, they'll obviously have to keep on the cup tie rule. If you play in a competition and you've already played in that competition for your club, that you then leave and play for someone else, you are tied to that club for the rest of the season and cannot compete. So Arsenal are in all competitions at the moment. We don't know who they're chasing and who they're after. I haven't really heard anything yet. We'll know you'll know when we do. Well, one transfer that did happen, Mikel Oyarzabal has gone to Newcastle United from Real Madrid for 36 million, as Newcastle are starting to spend that 60 million they received for Alexander Isak. And Newcastle really will be making moves in this transfer window, it seems. I don't think he's the only one that will be coming in either. That 60 million they received for Isak really has freed up some cash for them. But I don't think Eddie Howe will want to overspend. Not least of which for the PSR rules, but also to not have too stacked squad. You never have too much depth, of course, but you don't want it to be too stacked. Zinchenko plays in Isak. Flecky makes a save and it bounces off Isak. Isak was offside anyway. Next fixture for Brentford will be the St Mary's Stadium to take on obviously newly promoted Southampton. As of now, there are no real threats for Brentford going down. Southampton are down in the relegation zone. We hope and pray that Everton somehow overturn their form and get out of the relegation zone. We cannot lose them as well as Goodison Park this season. And once again, just to point you in this direction, because it'll be the last game ever at Goodison Park, relegated or not, we will be taking you to Goodison Park live for Everton's final game at home of the season against Southampton. That'll be a special edition game for you all to watch. We will also be bringing you all the domestic cup finals, including the Champions League, Europa League, the Women's Champions League as well. Zinchenko makes it 4. And will we hear the song? Probably not, because we're not at the Emirates Stadium, so we're probably not going to hear the song, which is fine by me, because I don't think I can ever hear it the same again now. But Zinchenko has got himself on the scoreboard, and now it's getting a bit mad. Now we've got Zinchenko getting goals. Well, they're missing Bukayo Saka, but Kai Havertz still hasn't really recovered from his injury yet. I think Sterling is out as well, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the first half here at the G-Tech Community Stadium, Arsenal are already 4-0 up, and that's just at the end of the first half. Here's Isak. He almost made it 5. It really is getting a bit crazy how much Arsenal are scoring and who with. This team really is playing like champions at the moment. They've become the hunted since a couple of weeks ago. And so far, they're handling it rather well, to be fair. Flecken grabs it out of the air, and that is the end of the first half. And the game might be all over already. Arsenal up by 4-0. Brentford struggling. Isak thriving with another 2 goals. And it's just all Arsenal once again. Brentford 0, Arsenal 4, and that's just at the break. Welcome back to the G-Tech Community Stadium for today's game on New Year's Day between Brentford and Arsenal. And the game is already over as a contest. And as a result, Alexander Isak has already gone off, as has Martinelli for Nketiah and Nelson respectively. Martin Odegaard has also made way for Fabio Vieira as Arteta plays load management once again. His team is so far out in front, he can afford to do that. Ivan Toney, straight at Raya. So just to pick on what we said earlier, we will also bring you all the domestic finals this season, including both FA and Carabao Cups, both Champions Leagues, men and women. We will also bring you any final day relegation battle we find ourselves in, along with our coverage of Everton's final game at Goodison Park. We hope they're not in a relegation battle by then. Here is Weezer. Remember the thing we said at the start of the season, more games than ever before. We certainly meant it. And this season has certainly delivered. Well, against Brighton was when Isak, Moreno and Sterling arrived at the Emirates Stadium that day. And they went on to be influential and superb signings all the way around. Now, next for Arsenal will be a game against Brighton at the American Express Stadium. And Rico Henry is sent off for that challenge on Reece Nelson. Another game, another red card. Weezer makes way for Lewis Potter then. And, well, Brentford just making their Arsenal's task all the more easier. And very much like Ipswich Town, to be honest. Rico Henry is gone for an early bath. It's almost inevitable to get a sending off at this point. I think that's 3 or 4 games in a row we've had a sending off or more. Here's Muambo. Muambo's gone past Saliba, but not Calvori. Saliba would be grateful that Calvori had his back there. Calvori with a beautiful ball to Reece Nelson. And it'll be given a free kick. So Alexander's Isak night ended probably earlier than he would have liked. He probably would have liked to get a hat-trick in this game. But Mikel Arteta is playing load management. And it is working wonders. He might have injuries, but they're an unfortunate part of the game. Moreno. Rozarev actually got there. Onyeka. Potter. Onyeka battles with Declan Rice and he wins it. And showing for some intent now, Toney. I suppose the only question we can say with some certainty is, straight into the arms of Raya from that free kick. Benjamin Sesko will probably be involved in transfer speculation for Arsenal once again, and I think the selling of Jesus is certainly going to fuel that fire again. But will it come to fruition? Algier. Picked up there by Nketiah. Strange that Arsenal accepted a bid from Inter Milan for Jesus. And I guess Arsenal will have many years left in Isak, and if they get Sesko, And they will get many years out of him as well. I don't think Jesus was probably struggling to get a spot in the team anyway, with Isak on such form. Trossard could also play there. So, this is not a bad move from Arteta. I don't think he would have been Arteta's first choice to do first action of the window. But maybe he's given some names to the board and they've made the move, which would make sense. But that only fuels fire to speculation that Benjamin Sesko will one day be an Arsenal player. He's been forever linked with them, to be fair. Here's Nketiah. And here is Moreno. And it's a good save by Flecken, to be fair. And Jeanalt is coming off for Olivier Silva. Trossard with the corner. Towards Calvori, I think. But it didn't end up there. Here's Mwembo. Tackled by Nelson because he had no one really in support. Ben White. Moreno. Nelson. Arsenal just continue to come forward. They don't take the foot off the gas that much. Vieira into Nketiah. And will Nketiah hit in the rebound? He will. And he'll put it in, you know. Oh, my word. Well, Nketiah, he made that a lot more difficult than it probably needed to be. But for him, it works. Well, it's going to be no problem without Gabriel Jesus, I guess. And I don't know what Nketiah was doing here, but he made it a lot more difficult. But he beat the keeper regardless. 5-0 to Arsenal again. The second consecutive game, and Arsenal scored 5. I don't think that's ever happened before. Oh, what a goal for Nketiah. He was looked to be on their way out of the door at one point, but he's managed to stay his claim, and he's staying, and it's benefiting. And there's Calvori, Declan Rice. Arteta will probably be wishing right now that he could substitute his entire team. There's Fabio Vieira. And straight at Flecken. I can't really blame Flecken. It's basically just how good Arsenal have been this year. This season even. They look to start 2025 as they left 2024, scoring goals and winning games. And Tony cuts it out for a throw. 19 shots on target to 9 for Brentford. That tells the story, doesn't it? Arsenal's prowess and goal-scoring juggernaut-like season is really going to amount to something. You can definitely feel it. But where will be the question. Potter. Tony. Brentford are coming forward a lot more intent than Ipswich Town did. Cut it there by Saliba. Here's Ben White. Calvori. Alexander Zinchenko. Now Trossard. Well, the bees, as they're called, have been stung. And, well, Arsenal continue to be relentlessly scoring goals and winning football games. It's not an easy business, but sometimes Arsenal have made it look effortless this year. And right now, they are the champions elect. For the last 2 seasons, no one even put them in the title fight. Now people are putting them in the title fight, and they are leading that title fight, possibly by the end of tonight. They will take back that 1-point lead against Manchester City, and if they can get any result against City at the Emirates, that could really decide things. There's Muambo. Tackled by Shinchenko. David Raya has had a very easy last 2 games. He's going to get his 10th clean sheet if it stays like this of the season, which will put him at the top of the clean sheet board. Declan Rice makes it 6 for Arsenal. And they are just absolutely cruising. It is another vintage 5-6 star performance for Arsenal here today. It was over by the end of the first half. It's definitely over now. Brentford 0, Arsenal 6. A relentless scoreline. Most goals they scored this season, 8 against the BSC Young Boys. They're already on 6 now. 9 minutes left. Brentford don't look like scoring. Another day, another team that really... They've not waved the white flag as much as Ipswich did. They have showed a lot more intent. But Arsenal have been tremendous defensively, and David Raya has made the saves that count, including that one there from his former teammate Ivan Toney. Trossard has picked out Nketiah, and he's got a lot of work to do from there. He's picked out Trossard instead. Moreno is galloping forward as well. Trossard keeps the ball. Arsenal gain advantage. It's out to Fabio. Vieira is going to shoot. He's going to be very wide. It doesn't matter. Arsenal have already won this game a long time ago. Norgard is coming on. I guess Norgard is probably teammate to Martin Odegaard for the Norway international team. Right, wow, what's what all the teams of all these players be thinking? They're all scoring goals. They're all in tip-top form. And every player that on international duty that goes to Arsenal, those countries have got to be hoping that their form carries over. Of course, there is no international tournament this year, I believe. The next will be Euro 2026. I forget where that could actually be. I think it might be France, but I'm not entirely sure about that. He has a free kick here. Renault with a free kick. It's all the way to Flecken. Potter showing some intent here for Brentford. And cut out by Ben White for a corner. Actually, it's a goal kick. That's strange. I'm sure it came off Ben White. So David Raya on the verge of becoming the top score clean sheet keeper for the season, with 10 to his name, and that gives him obviously plenty of time to reach that magic number of 16 or 17 they had last year and hopefully surpass it. Nketiah forward to Reece Nelson. Oh, he should score. He did beautifully. He did what Ethan Wanyeri did against Ipswich. The only difference is he didn't score. 5 minutes of added on time. Again, we say it again. The referee could add 10, 15, 20. Arsenal would still win rather comfortably. The only thing that will probably hold them back is player fatigue, playing for that long. But we've reached those kind of times before in cup finals. These are superb athletes, no doubt about it. Take it from me, the stamina is you need in a football game is no joke. It's not absolutely, what's the word? It's like, I suppose like Formula 1 is a lot tougher because of G-forces and things. But even to be a footballer, you need incredible stamina and incredible skill, really. But the most thing you need to always do is work hard, and you'll always get somewhere. That I've always kept in mind, really. Arsenal haven't been made to work very hard over the last couple of games. This time, it's 6-0 and a red card that Arsenal have this year. And Brentford rarely ever stood a chance, if at all. Arsenal continue their march towards a possible title. They take back the lead in the Premier League table. Declan Rice gets a goal. He's not been amongst the goals as much as his other teammates, but he has got what he needs, and he has done his job, and so have everyone else. Brentford 0, Arsenal 6. And I think that was the only game of the day with coverage today. So we'll take a straight look at the table then. Arsenal still maintain that 1 point lead, or they take it back at least with the 1 point lead at the top over Manchester City. And don't forget, Manchester City are still unbeaten. So that last draw they had a few weeks back really has changed the complexity of this title race a bit. Newcastle just 8 points behind them now, with Spurs, and as they continue to fall behind, but do have a comfortable kind of gap over Spurs, although Spurs are still rising quite rapidly, and they've actually secured 4th place back ahead of Liverpool now. Chelsea ahead of Brentford, West Ham ahead of Manchester United as they fall back down a couple of places. Aston Villa fall to 10th, strangely enough. Bournemouth are 11th, so there's a couple of fallers, as obviously due to Manchester United's most recent win before now. Brighton 12th, followed by Fulham. 14th will be Leicester City. 15th will be most likely Nottingham Forest right now, and it certainly is. A bit of a gap forming between 14th and 15th. Everton, thank goodness. Everton are now 16th and back into the safety zone alongside Ipswich Town. Crystal Palace are back in the relegation zone with Southampton and Wolves. But it's so tight between 15th and last. Let's hope Everton aren't in the last 3.